Hey everyone, and welcome to Chrome Insider Browser Tips and Tricks for IT Admins. First off, I want to thank you for taking the time to join us today. I'm Parisa Tabriz, the head of Chrome Engineering, Product and Design, and I've worked on Chrome for almost a decade. I've seen firsthand how Chrome has evolved from being a portal on the internet to becoming a really critical component of an organization's tech stack. Today, there are many features in Chrome that are purpose-built for enterprise. And we're committed to helping redefine how IT teams can support their increasingly cloud-first and distributed workforce. Now, as organizations are going through yet another transformation in the workplace to enable hybrid work, Chrome is here to support IT teams and users alike. I'm really excited to chat through with you at a really high level our vision for Chrome and Enterprise. And our team is going to be sharing tons of best practices and insights into how to get the most out of Chrome later today. Now, when we talk about what's next for Chrome, we tend to think of these four areas that you see here: management, security, productivity, and the latest addition, integrations. Let's start with management. We know that managing workforce technology is one of the most important and challenging tasks that IT teams are responsible for. Our goal is to make it as simple an experience as possible. We launched Chrome Browser Cloud Management in 2019, which makes it easier to manage your browser deployment from the cloud and to customize Chrome according to the needs of your business. Chrome Browser Cloud Management allows you to set policies with only a few clicks and gives IT teams better visibility so that they can make informed management decisions. Our team will chat through various methods of managing Chrome later today. Next is security, and security is a topic that I hold very near and dear to my heart. My first role at Google was as a hired hacker in our central security team. And I worked on improving Google's product security by finding application security bugs, helping teams fix those bugs, and also helping to prevent them in the first place. And what attracted me to Chrome was their commitment to security across all functions: engineering, product, and design, and really building both an end user product and platform that was positioned to keep people and their businesses safe. Because of this experience, making Chrome as secure as possible is a huge priority for me and also my whole team. Not only do we have a ton of built-in functionality that focuses on making the browser secure, but there's also a bunch of enterprise-grade security tools that IT teams can use as well. And we'll be covering what's next for security today in our roadmap session. Let's talk about productivity. Now, when it comes to Chrome, the user is always our primary focus. Like I mentioned earlier, the browser is a critical part of an organization's workspace, where end users can securely access the data and apps they need and are supported by a platform that really fuels productivity, where the browser is delivering real-time insights to users as they work, and where IT teams have the visibility they need to make better decisions for their business. We've recently launched some notable productivity features like link to highlight, tab search, and multiple performance improvements, and we have more to come. Chrome also enables IT productivity with extensive reporting and management capabilities in Chrome Browser Cloud Management. And as people spend more and more time in a browser to do their life's work, you can expect that Chrome's continued commitment to enhance productivity will happen in 2021 and onwards. Finally, we have integrations, which is a new area of focus for our team. Integrations are centered on bringing choice for our customers to Chrome. We're partnering with best-of-breed enterprise-first services to bring integrations into Chrome and Chrome OS. Traditionally, we know it can be challenging for organizations with legacy IT stacks to really leverage best-of-breed tools due to infrastructure limitations. But these integrations will allow you to bring all of your favorite tools into the browser and create a more seamless and productive experience for your users. A concrete example of this is a zero trust integration, where Chrome will allow you to enable secure access to web applications using a set of device and browser signals that continuously authenticate users with more context. There will be more exciting integrations to come from some of your favorite technology companies later this year. Today, we'll be walking through what this vision looks like in practice by taking you through the Chrome roadmap and sharing best practices for managing Chrome, updates, and extensions. I'm going to give the mic to Maxim, who will be presenting on the Chrome roadmap. Over to you, Maxim.
Thanks, Parisa. And to everyone watching right now, welcome again to Chrome Insider, Browser Tips and Tricks for IT Admins. I'm Maxime Martin, Product Manager for Chrome Browser Cloud Management. Today, myself and a few of the customer engineers on the team are going to take a deep dive into new and upcoming Chrome features so you can learn how to get the most out of Chrome for your business. You'll see hands-on demos and learn useful tips for managing your browser deployment. If you're watching live, we'll be doing a Q&A throughout the presentation, so please drop your questions in the chat below and we'll be answering them as they come up. At the end of the event, we'll have a brief survey. Your feedback is very important to helping us build the kinds of events you want to see. So if you take the time to respond, we'd really appreciate it. Let's take a look at what we're planning to cover today. First up, I'm going to be walking you through our roadmap. I'll show you the latest Chrome features and give you a sneak peek at some upcoming releases that will help you and your team work more efficiently and productively. After that, Alex will cover Chrome Browser Cloud Management with demos on Jamf integration, bookmarks, remote commands, and more. Next, Fletcher will take us through the popular topic of extension management in Chrome, including new features to increase security and make extension management quick and easy. Finally, Helen will be joining us to talk about managing updates with a focus on some new policies and features that we cannot wait to show you. We have a lot of great tips and exciting information to share with you today. So without further ado, let's dive into the roadmap. At Chrome, we're constantly working on new products, new features, and new updates. But how do we keep track of everything? It's through our product roadmap. The roadmap is, just as the name implies, a map to everything we've released, everything we're going to be releasing soon, and everything we have in development. So in my session, I'm going to give you a look at some of the roadmap highlights, starting with some of the great features that are already available to use. Top of the list is Chrome Browser Cloud Management, the centralized management portal that lets you easily manage Chrome deployments across OSs and devices right from the cloud. In the next session, Alex will be walking through Chrome Browser Cloud Management to demonstrate the basics if you aren't using it yet, as well as more in-depth information for current users. No spoilers, I promise, but I will say that we've been thrilled by the response, and if you haven't started using cloud management, now is a great time to start. Legacy browser support is a feature that allows admins to run Chrome for most of their organization's workload and automatically fall back to a legacy browser when users need to access a site that only works in that browser. When users visit a site that is incompatible with the latest version of Chrome, they will automatically be redirected to a legacy browser that works for that site or app. You can even choose which apps will open in the legacy browser ahead of time to make the process as seamless as possible for your end users. Our customers have asked for legacy browser support for IE mode on Edge, and we're excited to announce that it was recently launched. In January, we launched comprehensive version reporting in Chrome Browser Cloud Management. Now you can see which versions of Chrome are deployed in your enterprise on Chrome OS, Windows, Mac, and Linux devices. iOS and Android version reporting will be available soon. In session 4 today, Helen will be showing you where to find version reports and give a brief tour of the information you can learn there. Versions are just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the information you can find in Chrome Browser Cloud Management. With the Apps and Usage report, admins can now see all install extensions, PWAs, Chrome apps, and Arc++ apps across their entire fleet, including app versions and permissions. This is incredibly helpful for compliance and making sure everyone in your organization is using the most secure, up-to-date versions. Remote commands allows admins to choose the profile they want to target and then send a remote command down to the browser. Our initial set of remote commands let you clear browser data remotely. We'll be adding more commands in the future to give IT admins even more control to assist their end users from afar. We built this functionality because IT admins said that clearing cookies and cache are the most common tasks they have to assist their end users with. We've recently added a ton of productivity features to help end users get their work done easily and efficiently. Some of these features include tab groups and tab search, performance enhancements, the ability to mute notifications, and enhanced options for working with PDFs within the browser. Now let's take a quick look at what some of these productivity tools look like, starting with tab search. Have you ever had a tab open that you're sure is in one of your windows, but you can't find it? Or have you ever had to find a tab quickly while giving a presentation? With tab search, you finally have a way to find the tabs you're looking for quickly and efficiently. Once you have the tab search policy activated, end users will notice an arrow icon at the top right corner of the Chrome browser. When you click on the arrow, you'll see a list of tabs that are open across all Chrome windows in the drop-down box. You can also open tab search using Command plus Shift A on Mac or Control Shift A on PCs. I'm going to search for the keyword policy, and the search results will display all the tabs related to that keyword. I can then decide to close a tab by clicking the X icon or select a tab to open it. No more need to hunt around through all your tabs anymore. With tab search, you can find what you're looking for right away. Now, let's take a look at the tab groups feature. Remember when we used to do things on paper? If you're like me, you might have gone to school with a binder or a trapper keeper of folders that you'd carry around from class to class. When you're in the math class, you open your math folder. Science class, your science folder. Everything you needed right there in one place. Imagine tab groups as your folders of work. When you walk into a meeting, you open the respective folder for that team's projects. All of the other tab groups that you don't need for that meeting are closed, freezing any resources they may use. This allows you to have hundreds of tabs loaded without taxing your machine. The first step of tab grouping is to add a tab to a group, and in this case, I'm going to create a new group. I will name this group Chrome Policies and then choose a color. End users can easily identify a tab in a group by looking at the group header and the color of the group. Now let's add a second tab to the group. You can see that both tabs are highlighted by the group color. When you click on the group header, it collapses the group. And starting in M91 beta, these tabs will no longer use resources. With the tab groups feature, end users can easily organize their tabs in categories in order to support the work that they're performing in the Chrome browser. Last but not least, in the recent releases, there's Beyoncorp Enterprise, a new security product in partnership with Google Cloud. Beyoncorp Enterprise is Google's zero trust solution that provides simple and enterprise-grade secure access to business-critical applications and cloud services directly from Chrome. Given the increase of cloud services available in the browsers, this feature will be super useful for enterprises. Beyoncorp Enterprise allows you to enforce granular access controls to apps, VMs, and Google APIs, and implement strong authentication and authorization policies to keep your organization secure while allowing your end users to access the resources they need. It gives you enterprise-grade threat and data protection built right into Chrome. Beyoncorp Enterprise is just the latest offering in our continued goal of making Chrome a vital part of your enterprise's security framework. For more information on Beyoncorp Enterprise, visit the link you see here or in the resources section below the video player. Those are our most recent releases, but at Chrome browser, we're always working on the next thing. So let's talk about some of the exciting features coming down the pike in the next few quarters. One feature a lot of customers have asked about is an easier way for end users to request extensions. We're introducing extension workflow to make the communication between end users and admins easy and streamlined. In session 3, Fletcher will give you a preview of extension workflow and show you how you'll be able to implement it in your future deployments. As workforces went remote over the past year, management of mobile devices became a huge issue for IT admins. Soon, you'll be able to make sure your mobile fleet is just as secure as your on-prem devices with Chrome browser management on iOS. You can easily configure policies for Chrome on iOS via Google Admin Console, Jamf, or VMware WS1 AirWatch to keep your end users safe and your company data in your hands. Along with iOS management, you'll soon be able to manage your Android devices from the admin console just as easily as your Mac, PC, and Linux devices. You asked for more management flexibility, and we heard you. Groups give you an entirely new way to organize users apart from organizational units. Now, users can belong to multiple groups at once. For example, the sales department could have one set of policies, people on Windows machines could have a different set, and people on Windows machines in the sales department could yet have another set. We have a lot of exciting new integrations coming up, focused on addressing zero trust, data security, and reporting needs. With our zero trust integration, Chrome will let you grant secure access to web applications using a set of device and browser signals that continuously authenticate users with more context. In data security, Chrome will identify sensitive enterprise files and save them directly to your cloud file system when users download them from the web or your intranet. Lastly, in reporting, Chrome will give you more visibility on security and performance events right on your organization's IT monitoring solution. So that's what we've been working on lately, but the Chrome browser team is always developing new features that will make Chrome stronger, faster, and more secure. If you want to stay up to date with new announcements, sign up for our release notes at the link you see here to get new release information right in your inbox. And if you're excited about some of the capabilities we've talked about today and would like to help us test new features, sign up to our Trustedtester program at the URL you see here. It's a great way to try the latest features before anyone else and provide our team with valuable feedback to help improve Chrome for everyone. And just a reminder that all the links you see in the event today will also be available in the resources section below the video player. Thanks for joining me on this close-up look at the Chrome browser roadmap. Now I'll turn it over to Alex Bauer, who will take you through the ins and the outs of Chrome browser cloud management.
Thanks, Maxim, and thanks to all of you for joining us here today. My name is Alex Bauer, and I'm a customer engineer for Chrome Browser for Enterprise. I help enterprise customers implement Chrome in their environment, and I also help connect customers to the engineering team here at Google, letting them know about any bugs or problems customers are encountering, as well as help formulate new feature requests based on customer feedback. In my session, I'm going to walk you through some helpful techniques for managing your Chrome browser deployment using Chrome Browser Cloud Management. I'm sure many of you are managing your browsers already, but for those of you who aren't, I'll start out with a brief introduction about the benefits of Chrome Browser Management. Next, I'll introduce Chrome Browser Cloud Management, our enterprise solution for managing Chrome from the cloud, and after that, I'll talk about best practices for building your organizational structure within Chrome Browser Cloud Management. Finally, I'll take you through a series of demos that will show you how to manage your deployments using the admin console, including setting up your machines, Jamf integration, managing users and browser settings, update management, remote commands, bookmark management, and legacy browser support. Before I walk you through the admin console, though, let's take a minute to talk about why it's important to manage your browser deployment. First, browser management allows you to customize the browser experience for your users based on a wide range of criteria, including job function, geolocation, and much more. It gives you the ability to set up that common enterprise experience for all your browsers. If you're not managing your browsers, it's difficult to enforce certain security settings. It can also be hard to achieve symmetry between different parts of your organization and make sure all of your end users have what they need to do their jobs. Second, you can pre-configure settings to meet your organization's needs. For example, you can whitelist extensions your end users need to stay productive and blacklist anything you think might interfere with their jobs. Third, security. Much of today's workflow is taking place over the web, moving fluidly between devices, operating systems, and locations. This creates a lot of potential vulnerabilities for your end users, with the browser being a particularly targeted place for data attacks. Browser management gives you valuable security controls to keep your organization and data safe. And finally, it gives you the power to control versions and updates for every device in your fleet. Clearly, it's important to manage your browser deployments, especially with the rise of distributed workforces and all the complications that can create. Unfortunately, traditional browser management can often make things more complicated, not less. In traditional browser management, Chrome configurations can take place in many different locations, including registry, group policy, and plist for Mac and Linux. It can be hard to know which settings have been applied and where. The ideal browser management solution should make administrators' lives easier and not more complicated. That's why we created Chrome Browser Cloud Management. We launched Chrome Browser Cloud Management with the goal of giving IT administrators a single centralized location where they can manage all the deployments in their entire organization across Windows, Mac, Linux, and soon iOS and Android. With Chrome Browser Cloud Management, you can see the details you need to know about what apps and extensions are being used across your organization in one place. You can easily force install the extensions you want your end users to have and block any suspicious extensions you want to restrict. You can group sets of browsers into organizational units to conveniently apply policies across different sets of users and manage all policies across devices on any platform from one place. Chrome Browser Cloud Management is network agnostic, enabling you to deploy policies on corporate or public networks. And it gives administrators immediate access to information about which policies are in place, which browser versions, extensions, and apps their end users have installed, and more, all in one clear, easy-to-use admin console. Since releasing Chrome Browser Cloud Management in 2019, we've seen significant adoption by enterprises. For administrators and end users alike, there are many great benefits to managing from the cloud. Cloud management enables you to see all installed extensions across your corporate machines. It integrates smoothly with existing tools via APIs and works with the legacy apps your enterprise needs. When combined with Google Identity, you can create dynamic policies that change based on whoever signs into the browser. And with the rise of Chromebooks in the workplace, you can now have a one-stop shop for everything Chrome. It is literally one tool to manage them all from a Chrome perspective. Before we get into specific features, let's take a minute to talk about creating an organizational structure for your deployment using organizational units, or OUs. These will be your bucket for devices. The best practices for creating your structure is to use whatever is best for your organization, with simplicity being key. You can build your structure based on geolocation, use case, business unit, Active Directory OU, a combination of any of these, or you can use Google Cloud Directory Sync to replicate your directory structure and keep it automatically updated. As Maxim mentioned in the previous session, we're also working on groups, which will be a new way to organize users. Now that we've covered the basics, let's get into the fun stuff: how to use cloud management and the admin console to get more control over your Chrome browser deployment and set your end users up for success. Here we see the Google Admin Console. I should note that you don't need a Google Workspace license to use this solution. We originally built this functionality for Chromebooks, and when it came time to create our cloud management solution, it just made sense to expand the current solution. This is a complementary solution, so there are no costs associated with browser management at a device level. There are a lot of different things you can do through this console, but let's start by looking at our devices. In the devices section, we can see a few different categories. Here you can manage your Chrome OS devices. However, let's click on the Manage Browsers box to see all of our non-Chrome OS browser deployments. Here you can see all the devices we have in our organization, including Windows, Mac, and Linux devices. On the left is the organizational structure we talked about a little earlier. Let's pick one of the organizational units, or OUs, from our organizational structure and use it to check in a new device. For this example, I'm going to choose the Mac devices OU. As you can see, right now we don't have any browsers enrolled in our Mac list. Let's change that. When I click on this yellow button, this generates an enrollment token which is unique for the Mac OU. We can push this token onto our Mac OS devices using Jamf or any other MDM of choice. For Windows, we can use GPO or any other MDM solution. Note that this token is unique for each OU. If I choose a different OU, for example the Dev OU, and I go through the enrollment process, I get another token with a different string. I'm guessing you did not memorize the string from the previous example, so you're just going to have to take my word for it. The token is different for each organizational unit, but they're the same for all machines that fall in the same OU. In just a little bit, I'll show you how to push an enrollment token using an MDM solution, but right now let's take a look at the device view. Back on the Manage Browsers page, you can see we now have a nice long list of managed browsers installed on the devices across our organization. You can search and filter the devices up at the top based on machine name, organizational unit, and so forth. Let's click on one of the macOS devices to get more information. In here, you can see details about the machine itself and also take actions such as moving a machine record between various OUs or unenrolling it from the admin console. Underneath the machine info, we can see the profiles associated with this browser installation. It's important to note that we don't capture any personal data that would violate user privacy. Google takes privacy very seriously, and we make sure that we're GDPR compliant. No cookies, cache, browser history, autofill data, nothing that would compromise privacy for the end users. The only thing we capture is if the user is using a Google identity to sync on the profile, so you can see if they're using a corporate or personal account. Another thing we've built into here is remote commands. So for instance, if one of your users is having trouble accessing a website or a website isn't loading correctly, what's the first thing you do? Most likely you'd ask them to clear their browser data. Now, instead of having to walk the user through the process manually, you can clear that data yourself right here in the admin console. All you have to do is select the profile the user is using, click on the three dots, and choose whichever option you need to clear the cache, the cookies, or both. Once you've done that, the data is instantly deleted on the user's computer with no need to restart. Here you can see we have a list of all installed apps and extensions and which profile and browser installation they're deployed to. In the next session, Fletcher will show you all the ways you can manage extensions using cloud management. So for now, let's take a look at a few more things we can see in this view. In this area, we can see all the machine policies that are applied in the browser. Here you can tell if these are cloud or local policies, whether they're applied correctly, and the value of each of the policies. Until now, when you applied managed policies on the browser, you had no way of knowing what was actually being enforced. Now you have the peace of mind knowing your policies are applied and configured exactly how you want them to be. For all the policies available for Chrome, visit g.co/chrome/enterprise policies, or just click on the link below the video player. Scrolling down, we can also see any installed plugins, and finally, any custom fields you want to configure manually from the console. Now let's take a look at our enrollment tokens. To do that, click on the Chrome menu in the nav bar, which brings us to the page displaying all the links related to Chrome management. Click on Enrollment Tokens, and you can see a list of all the tokens that have been configured for your organization, which organization unit they're assigned to, status, and which user created each of these tokens. You can also see if a token has been revoked, who revoked it, and when it was revoked. Speaking of tokens, let's step out of the admin console for a minute so I can show you how to use these tokens and enroll your browsers. Let's start with Jamf. We've been working closely with our friends at Jamf, and they've created a simple workflow that lets you deploy the enrollment token with just a few clicks. Start by going into Jamf Pro and clicking on the configuration profile link in the nav bar. Click on New to create the new profile. Now scroll down to the middle and select Application and Custom Settings, then External Applications. Click on the Add button to add a new payload. For source, choose repository, and in the application domain box, choose Google Chrome. Choose the version of this policy. Currently, there's only one version, so that's an easy choice. And the same goes with the variant. Now you'll see there's a box at the bottom for the enrollment token. Paste the token, save the profile, and assign the scope of this profile to whatever devices you manage. As soon as the profile deploys and the browsers restart, these browsers will be enrolled in our admin console with all the assigned configurations, extensions, policies, and controls that are assigned to that OU. That's it. It's just that simple. If you're interested in knowing how to enroll in other MDMs like Workspace ONE, check out the demo linked in the resources section below. There are just a few more things I'd like to cover before I pass on the mic to Fletcher to talk about extension management. First, let's talk about user and browser settings. Let's go back in our Chrome management menu and click on the user and browser settings link. This is where you configure all the policies you want to enforce on the browser. There are lots and lots of settings you can customize in here, everything from sign-in behavior to incognito mode to proxy configurations, site isolation settings, password manager, and so much more. If you want to search and filter through the settings, you can do so in the top bar, just like in any other views we've looked at. Settings in Chrome Browser Cloud Management have the attribute of inheritance, meaning whatever you apply at the top level also applies to everything beneath that. You can see when I click into these settings that many of them are inherited from global organization. However, if you want to bypass any inherited settings, you can also go in and adjust your settings for individual OUs. Password Manager in this case shows as locally applied, which means the dev OU is overriding the password manager for those devices. While we're here, let me show you how to manage bookmarks. With central bookmark management, you can standardize bookmarks for different sets of employees, setting up your end users' browsers with instant access to key sites and apps they need to do their jobs. We've recently introduced new customization options that give you more control over bookmark management. The method for creating a new bookmark is very similar to the way you create a new bookmark for your own browser. When you click on a folder, you have the option to create a new bookmark or a new subfolder. For example, let's add a new bookmark under the Shipping Department folder. Click on Shipping Department and choose Bookmark. Give it a name and assign the corresponding URL and click Add. And voila, the inventory bookmark is ready to go. Moving bookmarks is just as easy. Go to the inventory bookmark and click the More Options icon on the far right side. Select Move Up, and the bookmark is instantly moved one line higher. If you want to move the bookmark to a different folder, click the More Options icon again and select Move To. Select the folder you want to move the bookmark to, click Move, and now your bookmark is right where you want it to be. As you saw in the More Options menu, you can also easily edit the names or URLs of bookmarks, or delete the ones you no longer need. When you're all done, select the Save button in the upper right-hand corner. Changes will now be applied to all the browsers that are affected across your organization. If you are used to group policy, I am sure you can appreciate how much easier it is to set up these bookmarks in the admin console versus having to code them in GPO. Finally, I'd like to take a minute to talk about legacy browser support and one of the most requested new features, legacy browser support for Edge IE mode. Everyone here today knows how challenging legacy apps can be to deal with in your enterprise. If your browser updates and your employees no longer have access to these legacy sites and apps, it can cause a lot of problems for everyone's workflow. So we've given Chrome the capability to support older applications while you're transitioning to modern apps. We integrated legacy browser support in version 74. So as long as your browsers are version 74 or higher, you should be good to go. As Maxim mentioned, with our recent update, your users can now open IE-based applications directly in the Edge browser, minimizing the number of locations your users need to go to use their legacy apps. So let's set up some policies in the admin console and see how it works. First, go to User Settings and find the OU where you want to make a change. You can type Legacy Browser Support into the Filter field or just scroll down. In the Legacy Browser Support category, simply click Enable Legacy Browser Support to set it up on all devices in that OU. There are a few different policies you can set pertaining to legacy browser support, including integrating a delay before the alternate browser launches. You can use IE's sitelist policy as your rule source, link to an existing sitelist XML file, or create your own list directly in the console. When you're done, remember to save your settings by clicking on the Save button in the upper right-hand corner. If you want your users to automatically be taken back to Chrome from Internet Explorer, you can set that up easily. You just need to install the Legacy Browser Support MSI package. If you want to use Edge in IE mode, we also have instructions for that as well in the resources section below. We have recently released a lot of API functionality in the admin console. In fact, in just the past 3 months alone, we have more than doubled the API capabilities of the admin console. 2 recent highlights are the Enrollment Token API and the Policy API. The Enrollment Token API enables you to create, list, and revoke enrollment tokens quickly and easily. With the Policy API, you can configure browser policies that are available in the admin console. We're continuing to develop and release new APIs to help you better customize your deployment and automate and streamline your workflow. So there you have it. That's Chrome Browser Cloud Management. I walked you through the overview, but there's still so much more to get into. In the final session today, my colleague Helen will show you how to take more control over your browser updates. But first, Fletcher is going to walk you through the ins and outs of extension management. Over to you, Fletcher.
Thank you, Alex, for that great look into Chrome Browser Cloud Management features. So hi, everybody. I'm Fletcher Oliver. I'm a Chrome Browser Customer Engineer. And today I'm going to be sharing some tips and techniques on how you can gain more control on your browser extensions. This is what I'm going to be covering today in this session. First, we'll talk about why you should revisit your current method of managing extensions in Chrome and what tools are available to help. Then I'll show you how to discover the scope of your user extensions install base using Chrome Browser Cloud Management and how to set policies to keep your company secure. And finally, we'll go through some in-depth demos of some upcoming Chrome extension management tools. Many businesses have either started an extension management initiative recently or are in the process of revisiting their current approach. Extensions have the potential ability to access data on the sites that your users visit, as well as the devices that they're using to browse the web. So it's very important to get a management plan in place. So whether you plan to do heavy or light management of extensions in Chrome, it's a recommended best practice to first get an idea of what is out there in your environment. So why is it important to know what extensions are currently installed on your users' machines before you start applying policies? Because many extensions aren't harmless add-ons, like say an extension that displays cat pictures when you open up a new tab. Many extensions are actually necessary on how employees do their jobs. And if you don't know what they are before you start managing them, you can end up accidentally disabling something important. For instance, some users might have a few extensions installed that help them organize their day through to-do lists, note-taking, or help composing emails. Many video conference tools also require an extension to function, as do many third-party applications, all of which are especially vital to users' workflows with so many people working from home. Or more importantly, these may be accessibility extensions, such as an extension that boosts the volume for the hearing impaired, or an extension that reads web pages for the visually impaired. A quick side note, there's tons of accessibility-focused extensions, from Google Translate to read aloud tools to help meet the needs of your employees. I've linked a list down in the resource section if you'd like to learn more. Knowing what's out in your environment first will greatly reduce the amount of help desk tickets you get once you make any changes. Extension management needs to be done. It will create a more positive experience for your users as long as it's done carefully. The feedback we've received from admins doing extension management is that many organizations struggle on how to discover this information on what extensions are out there and how far of a reach those extensions have into user data. Knowing where they can find this information can be tricky. Traditional application management tools sometimes struggle with pulling this necessary information. When users install an extension, they're prompted to agree to the rights that extensions require to run. But for admins, it's tough to discover what those rights were after the fact. This is because the permissions or rights that an extension requires to run aren't written in the title of the extension, and this information usually isn't documented by the developer in the Chrome Web Store listing. On a side note, one piece of good news is that the Chrome Web Store recently added new transparency requirements for developers about the privacy practices of extensions. The Chrome Web Store now requires publishers to declare a few important pieces of information. First, that the data that is gathered from an extension is not being sold to third parties outside of approved use cases. Second, that it isn't being used or transferred for purposes that are unrelated to the item's core functionality. And third, that it's not being used or transferred to determine creditworthiness or for lending purposes. This requirement is a great improvement that aligns with Google's continued commitment to a more transparent web experience. But moving back to extension permissions, these are actually embedded within the manifest file of the extension itself. This is a JSON file that contains tons of information about the extension, like versioning information, how it works, and more importantly, the access it needs to run. This file can be hard to read even with custom scripts, as it tends to provide unreliable information. You could also try to get this information by directly asking your users about what extensions they use on a regular basis, but that can be disruptive to end users and time-consuming, especially if you're having to manage hundreds or even thousands of users. The good news is that now Google has instituted methods to make this much easier. In the last session, Alex showed you how to use Chrome Browser Cloud Management to manage your browser settings, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. You can also use the admin console to discover more information about the extensions that are already installed in your environment. And once you have a better understanding of your extensions, you can apply policies to manage them. Even if your company already has an extension management practice in place, you can still benefit from the reporting features within Chrome Browser Cloud Management. If you're already blocking all extensions except for the ones that you allow, you can use Chrome Browser Cloud Management to confirm your existing settings are properly configured. And you can also gain some insights on what permissions the extensions that you allow actually have. And if you're not managing extensions at all, or just blocking a select few and allowing the rest, Chrome Browser Cloud Management will provide some great insights into what extensions are installed and what the impact would be to your end users if you did start blocking a certain permission or extension. So the first step is to enroll your browsers into Chrome Browser Cloud Management, which Alex showed you how to do in the previous session. Once your browsers are enrolled, I'd recommend that you give it a bit of time for the solution to gather the information on the extensions that are installed to populate the apps and extension usage report. A couple of days to a week should be enough. Once the information is fully populated, you can click on the extensions themselves to view what permissions they require to run and examples of where they're installed within your enrolled browsers. It's also a good idea to review what these permissions are so you can know what you will or will not allow within your environment. Clicking on the permission itself will take you to a description of what it can do. You can also allow, block, or force install extensions directly within Chrome Browser Cloud Management by selecting the appropriate option. When you're trying to evaluate risk, just note that risk is relative. What might be risky for your environment may not be for someone else. So, how do you know if an extension is risky or not? Consider the source of the extension first. Does it come from a vendor that you trust? Is it related to an application already running in your environment? If you still have some questions, you can always reach out to an extension vendor and ask why they're requesting a specific extension permission. In most cases, they'll be willing to provide insight and scope on how much access the extension actually uses. Once you have an idea of what permissions or extensions you'd like to block, I'd recommend that you use the Extension Takeout API feature to export all the data out to a CSV file. I'll provide you with some links to get you started with this API at the end of the session. But right now, let's hop over to an export that I did earlier today to see what it looks like. So here's what the CSV looks like within Google Sheets. I can see the name, the number installed, if it's been disabled, and the permissions and examples of where it's installed. So let's say I wanted to search for a particular permission. I could create a column and say, I'm going to search for the storage permission. And then I can add a formula to look for which particular extension has that certain permission. And then I can filter by that. So I'll filter the ones that say it's true and clean out the blank series as well. And here I can see if I block the storage permission, these are all the extensions that would be blocked. So this is a great way to see the scope or what the user impact would be if you ended up blocking a particular extension or permission. Once you have this information, then you can decide on how you want to manage extensions. So let's take a look at how you can do this using Chrome Browser Cloud Management. Within Chrome Browser Cloud Management, you have a few different options on how you can manage extensions. You can allow all extensions except for the ones you choose to block. You can also block all extensions except for the ones that you allow. Or you can manage extensions by the permissions or rights that they need to run and the websites that they have access to. I'll select the Set Proxy and Storage Permissions. Now, any extensions with these two permissions will be blocked or disabled. And you can click on an individual extension and be able to customize and manage by permission that way as well. Now that we've gone over discovering what extensions are in your environment and how to block or allow those extensions with Chrome Browser Cloud Management, let's see some of the latest extension management features in action. So the first thing I'd like to show you is Extension Workflow, a new feature that will be launching soon. So let's say your user wants to request an extension. They'd start out by finding the extension they want to add in the Chrome Web Store. For this example, I'll select a Google Earth extension. Normally, they'd see an Add to Chrome button, but with Extension Workflow turned on, instead they'll see Request. Push the Request button and the users will see a confirmation message, along with some indicators on what sort of rights this particular extension needs in order to run. Here the user really wants the Google Earth extension, so they click the Request button and submit their request. This is what it looks like for the user, quick and easy. But let's see what it looks like for an administrator. Okay, so here I am in the Google Admin Console in the Apps and Extensions section. I'll click on the tab that says Requests. In this tab, I can see one of my users requested the Google Earth extension. So I click on it and see a link to the Chrome Web Store listing where I can get a bit more information. I could also click on the permissions that are listed on the extension to see what sort of rights it would require to run. And when I do that, I'm taken directly to the developer documentation for that permission. To approve or deny, I just click on these three little dots. Denying will block any browser from using this extension or having it installed. Approving it will add this extension to my allow list. I'm not seeing any risk with this extension, so I'll go ahead and approve this for my user. Now let's go back to the user's machine and see what happens from their view. Back on the user's machines, they'll get a notification that the extension has been approved for installation. They can click on the pop-up and go right to the Chrome Web Store where they can add it to their browser. If you're receiving a lot of requests for an extension, you could approve and force install it so the extension shows up automatically on all the managed browsers within that specific organizational unit, or even across your whole organization. So not only does this give your users more say on the extensions that they can use on their corporate machines, but it's a great way to support the IT team's security and productivity goals. We will continue to make enhancements to the extension workflow feature with future roadmap items, including the ability for users to enter a business justification for an extension, provide custom blocking messages, and integrations with third-party ticketing systems for the approve and deny functionality. Next up, we have a great demo that I'm excited to share with you because we've never shown it publicly before. Extension Details allows you to click on any extension within the Apps and Extension report and view more of the information you need to know in order to make an informed decision to keep your company and users safe. Note that this feature is currently under development, and the look, feel, and functionality may change before it goes into our Trusted Tester phase in the near future. So for example, let's select Google Keep Chrome extension. This is the extension detail page for the Google Keep Chrome extension. Here I can see the extension ID, which is the unique fingerprint of this individual extension. I can also click here and show the Chrome Web Store listing for the extension, so I can learn a little bit more. I can also see when the extension was last updated and how long it's been listed on the Chrome Web Store. I can see who the developer of the extension is, and I can also click to view the privacy policy of that individual extension. I can see if it's a theme or if it was developed by Google or hosted in the Chrome Web Store. When I scroll down, I can see the requested permissions and if they have access to user data. I can click on any of these and be able to learn a little bit more information about what access this extension can have, either to the sites that my users are visiting or the devices that they're browsing from. Under Requested Website Access, you can see what reach this extension has either to read or change data on specific websites, and also gain an example of where this extension is installed within your environment. This feature will be in Trusted Tester soon, and again, if you're interested in signing up to be a Trusted Tester, you can find that link in the resources below. Earlier, I talked about the extension Takeout API feature. This API is run via Python script to generate the CSV file that shows all the extensions that are installed, where they're installed, and what permissions they have. This is just one of the many APIs available to help with your extension management. If you want to learn more about APIs or how to manage extensions, the enterprise team has been hard at work to bring you tons of documentation. So, have a look through and get started in hardening the security of your browser. First would be the Managing Extensions in Your Enterprise tech paper. This covers all the different options that are out there for managing extensions. I also have a few blog entries that cover managing extensions, using the extension Takeout API, and how to publish your own custom extensions. And for those that are a little bit more visual learners, we have some great YouTube videos on setting up the extension Takeout API and how to manage extensions within Chrome browser cloud management. We also have a program known as Trustedtester, which is a program for administrators who want to help test out new features within their environment. So if you're interested in becoming a trusted tester for any of our upcoming projects, sign up via this link, which is also available within the resource section. Thanks for your time today. Now I'm going to turn it over to Helen, who's going to show you how to navigate Chrome updates within your organization. Thanks.
Thanks, Fletcher. Hello, everyone. I'm Helen Hossain, and I'm a customer engineer on the Chrome browser team. One of the most common questions I'm asked is how organizations with large numbers of devices, operating systems, and browsers can maintain control over Chrome updates to make sure no unexpected conflicts or problems happen. I'm happy to say that the Chrome Enterprise team always does our best to pay attention to the needs of IT admins. So we've designed Chrome browser updates to maximize stability and control for your teams and give you the management flexibility you need to cover all your use cases. Today, I'll be taking you through some techniques for managing updates in Chrome, plus an in-depth look at some of Chrome browser's newest update management features. Here's the agenda for today's session. First, I'll go through some basics. What does Google Update do, and how does it work? Then, I'll give you an overview of our release channels and a new policy that lets you change which channel Chrome follows. After that, we'll take a look at the upcoming changes to Chrome's release cycle. Then, we'll dive into update management strategies for your organization. Then, a couple of new features. We'll do a quick demo of our new version report, and we'll talk about our new version history API before I leave you with some additional resources where you can go for more information. Let's get started. We'll start with Google Update. Google Update is the tool we use to update Chrome and other Google products on Windows. It's a distinct binary from Chrome itself with its own set of policies and its own ADMX templates for them. It doesn't require a separate installation though. It comes packaged with the Chrome MSI, so once you've installed Chrome browser, Google Update is already all set. For Mac, we have an equivalent product called Google Software Update, which works in the same way as Google Update. The initial installation of Chrome browser is about 56 megabytes. An update to the next version, for example, from Chrome 89 to Chrome 90, will be about 10 to 15 megabytes. A minor update is usually somewhere between half a megabyte and 3 megabytes. If you want to update to a version that is not consecutive, for instance, if you want to jump from Chrome 89 to Chrome 91, you'll have to do a complete new installation. But don't worry, Google Update will handle this for you as well. Chrome's release channels help your organization prepare for new releases by giving you a window into different stages of the release cycle. The stable channel is fully vetted and supported by Google, with minor releases coming out every 2 to 3 weeks and major releases coming out every 6 weeks. Our enterprise release notes tell you what's coming up, so you know what to look out for and test in your organization. You can also sign up to have them delivered right to your inbox. Most of your users should be on the stable channel. We recommend about 5% of your users should be on the beta channel. Beta has also been tested by Google and is fully supported, so there's minimal risk of issues. On the beta channel, you can preview what's coming up in the next release to make sure your company is prepared. There shouldn't be any changes between beta and stable besides bug fixes. Beta is updated weekly with minor changes, and major updates happen every 6 weeks, as with stable. Next, we have the dev channel, where IT staff can preview new features. These features may never make it to beta or stable, but it'll give you an idea of what we're working on so you can do some early testing. The dev channel is updated once or twice weekly, and because the features are new and minimally tested, it may contain bugs. In M90, we introduced Target Channel, a new policy that lets you choose between the stable, beta, and dev channels. This makes it easier to manage which versions of Chrome are in your deployment. If you need to test out the absolute latest version of Chrome, you can use the Canary channel. Here, developers can try out experimental features as soon as they're available. I should warn you though, Canary is not tested by Google, so it may be unstable. Canary should be used for testing purposes only. We release it daily or when it's built. For more than a decade, Chrome has shipped a new milestone every 6 weeks, delivering security, stability, speed, and simplicity to our users and to the web. Over time, we've improved our testing and release processes for Chrome and started deploying bi-weekly security updates to improve our patch gap. But soon, it became clear that we could shorten our release cycle and also deliver new features more quickly. Chrome will be moving from a 6-week release cycle to a 4-week release cycle. The change is planned for Q3, and we want to give enterprises the time to plan accordingly. There are many usability and security benefits that come with this change. For administrators who want a longer cycle to manage updates, we will add a new extended stable option with milestone updates every 8 weeks. Security updates on extended stable will still be released every 2 weeks to fix important issues, but some security positive changes and new features available with the 4-week option may not be included. If you want to stick with the safest option, it's best to stick with stable over extended stable. Starting in N94, Target Channel will also include the option to switch to the extended stable channel. Let's go into a bit more detail about strategies for managing Chrome updates. Chrome's update management strategies fit broadly into 3 categories: auto updates, version pinning, and full manual updates. You don't need to take an all or nothing approach. You can assign different strategies to different areas of your organization to help you achieve the right balance of effort, control, and security. Strategy number 1, auto update, is our recommended best practice. It's what most of our customers do and what Google does internally. With this strategy, all your users receive critical security fixes and new features as they become available. There's no need to manually deploy each release and security patch or to centrally manage them. The browser will update itself. Because Chrome is always up to date, using auto update reduces the risk of crashes and security vulnerabilities, and your users will always be on a supported version of Chrome. Don't forget, you can test each new version of Chrome for up to 6 weeks before each stable release using our beta channel. Remember to subscribe to our release notes so you know what's coming. The only downside to this approach is if your organization is bound to more controlled processes due to business or legacy requirements that take longer than 6 weeks to complete. We'll talk about how you can accommodate those sorts of processes with the next strategy. Strategy number 2 centers on version pinning. Most customers who use this strategy are only doing so within specific organizational units. Again, it doesn't have to be an all or nothing approach. Version pinning accommodates change management vetting cycles that take longer than 6 weeks, while still keeping the manual effort associated with updating Chrome to a minimum. This approach can be especially useful for exception users who need a specific version of Chrome. The risk, of course, is if you pin to an older version of Chrome, that version may lack critical fixes and may not be supported. This is the more traditional method of manually pushing a new version after internal vetting. Like version pinning, this strategy accommodates longer change management vetting cycles, but it can also be used in extremely locked down environments where there's no internet access and Chrome is used for internal web apps only. There are a number of risks to this strategy, though. First of all, there is a significant manual effort. And not only is that time consuming, but you should also bear in mind that all manual processes are prone to error. Security and bug fixes won't be received by these browsers automatically, so there's a risk they'll miss a critical fix. If these users are still on an older version of Chrome, the version they're on may not be supported. And if you run into a problem requiring a rollback, you'll have to have access to an older MSI in order to perform that rollback manually. As you've seen in the previous sessions, Chrome Browser Cloud Management provides a variety of insights about your Chrome fleet. Let's take a look at one of our newest reporting features, the version report. The version report allows you to easily see all the versions of Chrome running in your domain. This report will be populated if you've enabled reporting for your Chrome browsers and devices. To view the version report, go to admin.google.com and sign in. From the menu, go to Devices, then Chrome, then Reports, and click on Versions. Here, you'll see a list of all the major and minor versions of Chrome across Windows, Mac, Linux, and Chrome OS. This list is automatically filtered to show the most recently active devices by default. To see all available data, remove this filter. If you want more information about a particular version on a specific OS, click on that group. This will take you to the Managed Browsers page, where you can click into any browser that you'd like more details about. We also have a new API to help provide even more insight into the Chrome versions in your deployment. Our Version History API is a web service API for retrieving information about Chrome versions and releases. It is a REST API that returns information as JSON. You can use this to get additional information across platforms, versions, and releases. That's the latest on update management. If you want more information on anything we talked about today, you can find links to additional resources below the video. Since I'm the last speaker, I also get the honor of wrapping up the event. Thanks for joining us today for the debut of Chrome Insider. We hope you learned some new techniques for managing Chrome in your enterprise. 2 final notes. As you can see, there's a survey to the side of the screen with a few questions about today's presentation. Your input is super important to us, so we'd appreciate it if you could take the time to fill out the survey. Lastly, if you want to stay up to date with the latest Chrome browser announcements, sign up for our release notes to get new release information right in your inbox. Here's that URL. You can also find it in the resources section below. Thanks again for joining us, and on behalf of Parisa, Alex, Fletcher, and myself, I wish you a pleasant and productive rest of your day.